do have a set of icons at the top that you'll see here, which are going to help guide you through the risk analysis process. And I'm selected on risk, where we see a section for our risk register. And I hope you can see right away that the interface is very clean, very simple. But as you start to dig in, you'll find a lot of very advanced functionality. So it really helps satisfy both any of you folks who might be new coming into the tool, or also some of the more experienced risk practitioners. So I will just get going by building a simple risk register right here in NetRisk. And then I'll show you if you're doing some of the more advanced databases or Access or Excel, how you can bring that data right in here too. So I'll go ahead and create a new risk, and we can give this an ID, something like Francisco showed us there. We'll say this is a permitting risk. It's a threat. We can go ahead and give it a number. And we do want to give our risk a nice description. For the brevity of the demo, let's just do maybe one that Francisco would chastise me for here, delay to getting a building permit, but I will go back and put that in a nicer format. We do then want to set the category. So we don't want to tell NetRisk whether that's a threat or an opportunity, and that will help us calculate the right probabilities and impacts for the risk. And so you can see we have some columns shown up here. I've got a probability, the quantitative, and I'd like to just go ahead and move that over with some of my quantitative columns. And now we see a qualitative probability, impact, rating. And I'd like to go and turn on some new ones, and I can do that really easily by just bringing up this menu. I see here cost, impact, and rating, and I'd like to turn on some for our quantitative cost as well, which we'll be using here shortly. And we can even auto fit this so it all fits in the view really nicely. A lot of fields come out of the box, and we're always adding more. So a lot of times if you're tracking some more advanced features, maybe in Excel, then in the future you'll be able to bring them in. So let's go ahead and set our probability. We can go ahead and say it's a high probability. We can decide what the schedule impact will be. I do see there's a little lag here, so bear with me. I'm going to choose a medium impact. And you can see once I'm filling this out, it's calculating the rating for us already. So we see 52, it's a yellow, and this is because beforehand we have already set up the probability and impact thresholds, and definitely a step I recommend you do at the outset. Like Francisco showed us, you want to define what are these thresholds for your project, and we can choose a whole number from 2 to 9 for your probabilities, for your impacts. You can input whether it's the schedule, the cost, choose some different units here. And we do a PI calculation here. So we give you a number and we map it from 0 to 100. So, even more than just saying it's a high or a medium risk, you can actually get, well, it's a 83 compared to a 78. So there's really some nice granularity here. And you can choose different colors and of course format all of this. So this is just how I've gone ahead and set it up for today. I'd like to choose a schedule distribution type here. So we do have a mix of the qualitative columns that are sort of to the left, and then some of the quantitative ones to the right. So we can start by choosing, once we want to move into the quantitative analysis, what might be the distribution for this impact. So if we're talking about 8 to 12 days, how's that going to be distributed over the activity when we want to sample? And you can see we can we'll go ahead and just enter these right in the report. It's a spreadsheet style interface, so it's going to be very familiar, very nice for those folks who like this type of input. And once again, just bear with, there's a little bit of lag. This is not going to happen when you're using the tool live, but and once we have this, I also want to mention some of you might be newer to the risk analysis process and you might not know which distribution to use. We do have a nice table in our user guide It'll give you some guidelines based on how confident you are in your values and let you know kind of which distribution shapes you could be using, whether it's the risk impact or the activity duration. I also wanted to point out our IDs, ID numbering over here. You can see I named this permitting threat 001. So when we come to create a new risk, you can see NetRisk automatically picks that up for us. We don't have to even change it, and it increments it up to 2. We might be identifying a number of risks here, and now we move on to some construction risks. We want to put this a threat, and we start this over at 001. And we continue on, and NetRisk again, it picks up that now we're putting in some construction risk. So just really a nice feature that's going to save you time on managing how we're doing IDs, and just intelligently really helping encourage the best practice for the naming, all by itself.